Hello everybody and welcome to the first of our 7 Google Hangouts. This is part of the AUSA elections agenda and we are interviewing the different candidates over the next 2 nights to find out a little bit about their policies, their values, the reasons they're running and really why they want to get involved with AUSA. So my name is Jenny Waters and I'm actually behind the screen today. But I will be asking the questions and giving you a little bit of information as we're going through this Hangout. If you have any questions that you'd like to ask any of the candidates, please do so. Please tweet in or send us a Facebook message using the hashtag AUSA elections, and we'll try and read out as many of your questions as possible. So today we have Veronika Hofmann, if you want to give us a wee wave, Veronika. And she is running for the position President for Societies and Student Activities. Veronika is currently in the role at the moment and is hoping to rerun for a second term. So Veronika, I will begin by asking you to introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about why you're running, what you've done this year, and I'll give you 90 seconds to do so. So whenever you're ready, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you, Jenny, for the introduction. Hi, everyone. My name is Veronika. I'm currently President for Societies and Student Activities, and I am rerunning for a second term because I really enjoyed my job and I feel like I can make more of a difference if I'm doing it for a second time. What I did this year, I worked on a lot of different projects. I developed the Leadership Academy, I ran the Student Leadership Conference, we've extended our range of societies. We now have over 130 societies, and previously we had just below 120. We had different kinds of events with the Student Festival, just yesterday with the International Food Festival. We had Pause Against Stress. And for example, we organized bake sales with societies during the revision week and before Christmas. So lots of different things going on at the same time and a really exciting job. And what I want to do next year is concentrate a little bit more on AUSA presence on campus. I want to make sure that we are, as sabbatical officers, a bit more visible and on campus. So that you can ask us questions and we can interact a bit more with what you students think. Student media is important to me, the radio and student TV and the Gaudi, which has been doing great. And societies handbooks are another thing on my manifesto. And just in general, new building, that's maybe on top of the agenda, making sure that the transition into the interim building goes well, and that you guys all know where we are, and that the new building, the voices of societies are represented in the process of getting our new union building.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Veronika. That's great. So now what will happen is I will start by asking Veronika 2 questions. These questions have been given by students. So we went out onto campus earlier, asked some students some questions about what they wanted to ask various candidates. So Veronika, I will start by asking, how do you balance societies with student activities? And this came from a 3rd-year pharmaceutical student.
All right. How do I balance it? I mean, it's difficult to balance it because societies are just so many. So we have 131 societies on campus at the moment. So you try to give a lot of attention to societies, which is one of my main remits. But then on the other hand, I've been really active with getting Aberdeen Student Radio started again this year. I've been working with some really, really great people who are full of enthusiasm and wanting to get it started and running again quite soon. And then probably the proper launching would be during Freshers Week in September. But also Student TV, Granite City TV, have been doing really good projects this year. I've been working with other sabbatical officers and other remits and making sure that we have a video presence online and that we have a student TV. So I can't really say that I divided 50-50. Depends on which projects I'm working on, but I'm trying to spend a fair amount of time also, for example, with the Gaudi. I had a lot of conversations with them in the beginning of the term, when all the new teams were starting to set up their plans for the upcoming year. So I'm there to support them.
Perfect, that's great. And the second question is from Matthew. He's a second-year politics and IR student. And he asks, how will you prioritise societies and student activities so that they get the most out of the new building?
Yeah, I mean, societies is what keeps this building going at the moment. We are booked out nearly every night because there's a society event going on. And we have so many, not only weekly events happening, but also bigger events happening. The Dance Society have constantly got workshops, Swing Dance Society, paintball societies in the building all the time. So they need to be represented. They need to have a space in the new building, but also in the interim building. And this is why I think I would be fantastic with helping them and making sure that they're represented. And we have had consultations in the past, over the past couple of months, where we made sure that societies were who use this building most frequent at the moment, their voices are being heard, and we know what they're up to and what their plans are, and how far we need to make sure that we have the information that we require for the new building. Yeah.
Perfect, that's great. Thank you very much, Veronika. Just to remind everybody who's watching that you can send in questions on Twitter using the hashtag AUSA elections. So if you have any questions for Veronika, or indeed for any of the other candidates taking place tonight, then do send in your questions. So the next question I'm going to ask Veronika is a remit-specific question. All candidates were told in advance that one question would be remit-specific, and they were given a broad idea of what this might be. So the remit-specific question that we wanted to ask you, Veronika, was that sometimes there can be tension between core AUSA values and student groups or activities. And how do you plan to resolve this if you're elected?
Conversation, talking to each other, working out a solution. This is something that I've emphasized a lot throughout this year, that instead of when there's a problem, come and talk to me and we'll try and sort it out. And I've worked with a lot of societies this year who have had difficulties, and we've been trying to sort it out. Come in and talk to me. This is what I'm here for. And this is what we are all here for, to help students with their groups and with their societies. And there's always going to be conflicts. We have 15,000 students on this campus, well, this and Forestry Hall. So there is always going to be conflict of interest. And this is what I'm here for, so that we can have a conversation, talk to each other, find compromises, and find solutions.
Perfect, that's great. Thank you, Veronika. And now the next question I'm going to ask will be the same question that is asked to all candidates during the hustings process. And they've seen this question in advance, so they've had time to prepare if they wish. So, Veronika, what do you see as being the biggest challenges in this role?
Time management, making sure you get things done on time, you communicate properly enough with your teammates to get things done on time. Not overworking yourself, setting priorities, and just the big challenge for the upcoming year is going to be the interim building. So that's going to take up a lot of our time, and making sure students know that we moved, and making sure that students know who we actually are and why it's important that they know about the new building.
Perfect, that's great. Thank you very much. And the last question that I will ask Veronika is a question that's come from Twitter. So those that are bringing in their questions on the feed. This has come in from Lewis, and he asks about the political spaces within a union. So how do you feel the new Students' Union building will be able to foster and develop radical political activism on campus? And what role do you feel you can play in helping this?
First of all, I think it's a really important question. So Lewis, thank you so much for asking this question. The politicalness or political side of AUSA has always been something that we've been criticized for, and that is difficult to wrap your head around. but actually the word political is more scary than what the actual thing it is. I always try to be neutral in a lot of things. I'm the president for 130 societies, and that's a very wide range of societies. But for example, things that we do with the feminist society is political. A lot of things that we do with the student left or the conservative society is all political. We just want the conversations to happen on campus. I always think having a conversation and helping people to make up their own mind is essential. And this is what I'm promoting. And I think there's a chance with the building next year, well, in July, to make sure that the wide range of student voices are heard and that we represent everyone equally. But at the same time, also make sure that we stick to the values that we have. For example, our liberation groups, making sure that women's voices are heard, and different races, different ethnicities are heard. So all of this is political too, and this is what we stand for, and this is why I want to be president, to make sure that everyone's being heard, and we stay and we promote conversation and discussion.
Perfect, that's great, thank you very much. So that's all the questions that I'll ask Veronika tonight. I'll quickly give you a chance, Veronika, just to make any concluding or last remarks that you might want to make, reasons why students should vote for you as their next president for societies and student activities. So I'll maybe give you about a minute or so.
All right. Well, I have been in this role for about 8 months now, and it's been an absolutely wonderful journey. I've met so many fantastic people who are very enthusiastic and have brilliant ideas, and I was really glad to always help and to support them. And I think this experience that I've gathered over the past year or over the past 8 months really helped me to look at what needs to be further developed and what needs to be continued. For example, the Leadership Academy that I've organized is something that so many students got a lot out of, and I'd love to develop that in the future. But also societies handbooks, supporting new society committees with training and PR training and website training, treasurers training. All these things are will be organized because I've had the experience in the past, and I know what is requested and where students want support. And I really love this job, and I'm going to work really hard again to make sure that next year is successful, and that you will all of your societies will have a home in the new building, a home away from home.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Veronika, and thank you very much for answering our questions today. If you are interested in finding out a little bit more about Veronika's manifesto and what she's standing for in these elections, you can go online to www.ausa.org.uk/elections, and you can read her full manifesto there. That's the end of this session. We will have another session starting at 5:30, where we will interview the candidates for the Environment and Ethics President. That's everything from Veronika tonight, so we will see you later.
Thank you.